Imagine plunging into a world where dragons exist, not in fiery skies, but beneath the waves of the ocean. Unlike the mythical beasts in ancient lore, these creatures aren't just fantasy. They're real, mesmerizing, and bizarre. Meet the sea dragons, creatures so rare and enigmatic they'd put any fire-breathing dragon to shame. From their flamboyant colors to the delicate fins that look like enchanted wings, these sea dragons are one of the ocean's best-kept secrets. Why have these incredible creatures evolved to look like underwater sorcerers? And why is it so rare to catch even a glimpse of them in the wild? Let's dive deep into the world of these real-life aquatic dragons and the secrets they hold. First, let's settle a quick mystery. Sea dragons aren't actually dragons. They don't breathe fire, they don't have scales or claws, and they're not out capturing damsels in distress. Instead, they belong to the Cygnethidae family, the same family as seahorses and pipefish. But sea dragons have a flair that seahorses just can't compete with. Two main types exist in the wild. The leafy sea dragon, with appendages that mimic kelp and seaweed, and the weedy sea dragon with spiky, leaf-like projections that look like they've just stepped out of an oceanic masquerade ball. So why the leaves? Well, these appendages aren't for swimming speed or weaponry. They're pure camouflage. In the underwater forests of southern Australia, where leafy sea dragons make their homes, blending in can mean the difference between life and death. In a world filled with predators, it's all about the art of illusion. Imagine floating effortlessly, disguised as a piece of drifting seaweed, safe from hungry eyes but ready to strike when prey swims by. Sea dragons have mastered the art of invisibility to the point where even divers often swim right past them, completely unaware that these creatures are watching from a nearby frond. But these dragons don't just hide. They're slow, graceful movers. Imagine a creature that seems to drift like a feather, hovering in the water as if it's defying gravity. Unlike other fish, they don't use tails or typical fins for motion. Instead, they rely on two small fins, one on their neck and one near their tail. These fins are transparent, moving so subtly that it gives the illusion that the sea dragon is floating like a ghostly specter. This minimal movement keeps their cover intact and helps them avoid detection. It's the ultimate stealth mode. Here's where things get even stranger. Sea dragons are actually terrible swimmers. They're pretty much at the mercy of the ocean currents. If a storm rolls through and shakes things up, they can be swept miles away from their homes without any way to fight the current. Imagine drifting helplessly, hoping to land somewhere safe. For a creature that relies so heavily on camouflage, being pushed into an unfamiliar environment is risky. Yet somehow, sea dragons have survived this way for thousands of years. But what about food? Sea dragons are carnivores, feeding on small crustaceans like mysid shrimp, also known as sea lice. It sounds nasty, but to a sea dragon, it's a delicacy. With mouths that work like straws, they suck in their prey with lightning speed. No teeth, no chewing, just a quick gulp and down the hatch. Their tubular snouts allow them to vacuum up food with precision, making them silent and efficient hunters. It's the kind of high-stakes dinner time where missing a meal means going hungry in the vast empty ocean. And now, for the real twist, sea dragon parenting. You might expect a creature this dazzling to have an equally dramatic approach to raising young, right? Well, here's the surprise. Male sea dragons are the ones who carry and care for the eggs. Yes, you heard that right. After an elaborate courtship dance, the female deposits her eggs onto a specialized patch on the male's tail. Then, he takes on the responsibility, carrying the eggs until they hatch. It's a big job, but in the world of sea dragons, dads are the ultimate caregivers. It doesn't end there. Unlike seahorses, which release fully formed babies, sea dragons hatch larvae that float off into the open ocean. These tiny sea dragons have a lot to learn quickly. Most won't make it to adulthood. They're vulnerable and face a host of natural challenges. But those that do survive will grow up to continue the species' incredible legacy, hiding in plain sight and gliding through the shadows of their ocean homes. So, what's being done to protect these majestic creatures? Sea dragons are under threat due to habitat loss, pollution, and the warming ocean temperatures brought about by climate change. They're incredibly sensitive to changes in water quality, which means pollution from coastal cities and industries poses a serious risk. And because they live in such specific regions, even slight environmental shifts can have drastic effects on their populations. Luckily, there's hope. Conservationists are working to protect their habitats, and awareness about these magnificent creatures is growing. But with only a handful of these animals spotted each year, each sighting is like a rare treasure. Scientists and ocean enthusiasts alike are advocating for stricter protections, hoping that we don't lose one of the ocean's most enchanting secrets before we fully understand it. And for those daring enough to venture into their world, seeing a sea dragon is an encounter few will ever forget. These mysterious animals hold a kind of ancient magic, a reminder of how little we truly know about the vast oceans. They may not breathe fire or fly through the sky, but the sea dragons of our oceans are living proof that dragons are real, and they're more extraordinary than we ever imagined.